Welcome back to the Better Late Than Never Club. I'm Beck.
And I'm Frost.
And tonight's film that we will be covering is not only the oldest film that we've done to date, not only does it have a 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes,
Which, as discussed, not exactly super rare.
We'll get into it. It's also a film I've seen and you haven't.
Which is a rare drop.
Which is a rare drop. And that film is Singin' in the Rain. I'm singing in the rain.
And you've just listed the only things I know about this film. There ends the list.
Well, how about I tell you a bit more?
Well, actually, what a glorious feeling. I'm happy again. There we go. All right, now I'm done. I'm tapped. I'm fully tapped. I thought it was a song. I didn't realize it was a movie.
It is a movie musical. Our genres are musical romantic comedy. They did make a stage musical, but it's from the movie.
Oh,
movie
really?
came first.
I am actually really shocked.
Shocked Pikachu emoji for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the movie came first. So, this is such a good movie. I really, look, I'm now in the position that you are so often in of revisiting something that you haven't seen in a very long time. Because I think I watched this when I was like a teenager.
Yeah, Roger.
So, quite a long time ago now. And I remember loving it because I've always loved musicals. And this movie has a very kind of, I guess, a romantic, nostalgic place in my heart. So I'm hoping that stands up.
Do you remember what prompted you to watch it? Because, you know, it's not like it came out when you were a teenager.
I've always kind of been into musicals.
Right.
Like, I've seen a few musicals.
But this one would have almost been hard to come by.
Maybe.
You would have had to go out of your way.
My parents might have had a DVD of it, frankly.
Yeah,
or it might have been on TV.
Yeah, maybe.
I will get into it in what I'm going to tell you about this movie to prep you for it, but it's like it's an institution, just to be clear.
Oh, really?
So, let's just quickly talk about director, because it's kind of an interesting one, because it is two directors. It was directed and choreographed, by Gene Kelly and Stanley Donen.
Was Gene Kelly in it as an actor?
Correct.
Yeah.
Gene Kelly also is one of the main three stars of the movie.
Yeah.
So Gene Kelly's career was mostly as an actor, but he did direct a few here and there. In fact, him and Donen had a bit of a collaboration. They directed a few movies together and choreographed, because Donen, he started his career as a dancer in a chorus line and then became a director and just general film guy. He did other things as well. He acted and produced and did a bit of everything, right? And something quite interesting, because I was looking at their filmographies, as I do. Gene Kelly I actually don't think I've seen Gene Kelly in anything else, but he's such a iconic, he's such a 50s guy. He's that singing, acting, dancing, triple threat kind of vibe of that era. And Donen I didn't know anything about. But looking at his filmography, a lot of it's very old, so I don't recognize it. I might recognize a title here and there, but I haven't seen anything. But it just so happens he directed a movie we've seen very recently, Charade. And we really liked it. Now, this is not a movie we did for the podcast, funnily enough.
Although we did do it on a podcast movie night, but we watched it at a friend's place, so we didn't have our equipment with us.
It's true. So, and that's really interesting because we both really enjoyed that. That's also an older comedy film.
For the record, I should go on record, because we've brought Charade up, I should go out of my way and say that, it's the actress's name
Audrey Hepburn.
That the movie was redeeming for me, for Audrey Hepburn. It was probably the movie, if you have never seen an Audrey Hepburn film and you want to get the energy of what could be the potential, that is the movie you should start with.
Sure.
It's a good film.
It is a very good film, I will say that.
But this is not that film. Is Audrey Hepburn in this film?
No, Audrey Hepburn is not in this film. But I thought that was very interesting for Stanley Donen, that is, I did not know that he was involved in another one of my favorite older films.
There you go.
We also have, so the main three, from my memory, there's like three main people in this film. There's Gene Kelly, a man called Donald O'Connor, and Debbie Reynolds.
Debbie Reynolds rings a bell. Yeah,
so I was telling you the other night when I suggested this film, Debbie Reynolds was the mother of Carrie Fisher.
That's why.
Yeah. I actually don't think I've seen Debbie Reynolds in anything else except for, and you might remember this, the grandma in Halloween Town.
Halloween Town?
Yeah, it's that one where there's like the two kids and their mum and they're magical, but she hasn't told them. And then the grandma rocks up and she's magical, and then she like spills the beans to the kids, and then they get on like a fancy bus and like or magic bus and go to a town. Yeah, it's Halloween Town.
What's really funny, because I don't know, people don't inspire me to remember things.
Sure,
but I remembered the bus. That's really funny.
So she's the grandma in that.
Yeah.
But she's seen a lot of other things. I'm just saying, I think that might be the only film, aside from this one, that I've actually seen her in.
Gosh, what an impressive talent you have to name like the one film. Anyway.
Well, no, I was looking at her filmography.
True.
I'm not that magical. Or maybe I am.
Probably the only thing I would actually know Debbie Reynolds from like would have been because she famously survived her daughter, right?
No, I can't remember.
Really close.
No, they died really close together.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one. I think Debbie Reynolds died and then Carrie Fisher died.
Yeah.
I can double check that.
Either way, around that time, there was a lot of media circulating. Circulating? Am I saying that word right?
Yeah.
Circulating? I've said it too many times now, it's meaningless. Either way, there was media circulating about them, and I remember sort of seeing some of that video on and off.
You're right.
God, that's a rare drop.
But, I mean, so Carrie Fisher died December 27th. She died December 28th.
Oh my God, yeah, that
literally back to back.
That's probably why it was so notable in my brain.
Yeah, which I think I remember at the time. Obviously, it was very tragic, especially. I mean, she was 84.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But Carrie Fisher was relatively quite young.
Yeah, and she had a stroke. So it's, I mean, probably stress induced, right?
Yeah.
Because her daughter had a medical emergency and died.
Yeah.
I just feel, I mean, I remember at the time thinking, we're kind of getting sidetracked here, but I do remember thinking at the time.
Not really. Debbie Reynolds is in this film.
No, I know. But Carrie Fisher's daughter, Billy.
Just Billy. The artist formerly known as Billy.
Billy Lord. I remember thinking that must have been a very, very difficult time.
Not exactly a Christmas, New Year you want to remember.
Yeah, 2 generations of women in your family just going back to back day after, you know. Anyway, all that said, those are our 3 main people. There are other people in the film, but those are the 3, I believe, main actors. What else do we know? My tab has run away from me. So it was like a mild success at the time. It was the 10th highest grossing film of the year.
Okay.
It made money.
Yeah.
Which is good. But really the standout is sort of its legacy, if you will, and how people view it now, looking back. So, like I said, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. We have discussed what that means. Now, just as a reminder, if you haven't heard our Terminator episode where we found out about this, to have a 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes, all that means is that all of the critics who reviewed it, professional critics who submitted reviews, had a positive review. So I guess over 5 out of 10. Yeah. So more than half. Had
nothing negative to say, or if they did, it was overwhelmingly positive.
Right. But I think it actually has a higher average rating than Terminator. Its average rating is 9.3, which is pretty good.
Because Terminator was 8.8.
Something like that. So that's one thing. Another thing is that it is just littered across like greatest lists ever. You know, greatest movies. So
this is insane to me because I didn't even know it was a movie.
Yeah, that is.
I thought it was just a stage show.
I can't believe that. But anyway, basically, it ranked at like the 5th in this particular list, 5th greatest American film of all time. The song in the movie "Singin' in the Rain" was ranked 3rd of the greatest film songs. It was one of the first 25 films selected by the United States Library of Congress for preservation in the National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
I mean, the song is iconic. Basically everybody knows at least the chorus of the song.
Yeah. In 2005, the British Film Institute included it in its list of the 50 films to be seen by the age of 14. So you're a little late.
What?
And in 2008, Empire magazine ranked it as the 8th best film of all time.
So it's iconic. I don't know anything about it. And I was apprehensive, right? Because older films can sometimes be a hard miss, right?
Some cultural struggles.
And well, not only that, but also like people look upon it favorably, like, oh, it was so good for the time.
Sure.
With the emphasis on for the time.
Well, what I'll tell you, because I know I'm not going to tell you anything about like plot, obviously, because that's spoilers. But What I will say is that this film is about the time that it was made in, if that makes sense. So it is very culturally significant to the 50s, to this time that it was made in, actively. And so I think that helps it stay and keep its relevancy to itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're looking at it and you're like, well, the context is its time, and we don't need to like apply it to our time. Does that make sense?
Not really.
Oh, well, someone out there will get me. So some movies you go back and you watch and you go, yeah, well, it was the 90s. Everyone was making terrible jokes and bad decisions, and that would never fly now.
This was the 50s. Everyone was tap dancing everywhere in the rain.
It's not. You'll get what I mean when you see it. Maybe you'll understand what I mean when we watch it.
Your advice here might be too cryptic for those of us who expect a movie about singing and possibly precipitation.
I took all of my lessons from David Lynch on how to give clues about movies.
The movie speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Well, shall we let the movie speak?
I think we should yodel in the precipitation.
First, we find ourselves in 1927, where Hollywood stars Don Lockwood and Lena Lamont are premiering their latest silent film with Don's friend Cosmo in tow. After a successful show, Don is swamped by fans and escapes by hitching a ride with aspiring actress Kathy Selden. Unimpressed by Don's behavior, the two part ways, but Don is in love and eventually finds Kathy again working as an extra. Meanwhile, Hollywood is undergoing a change. Talking pictures are taking over, and Don and Lena are tasked with taking on this new fad. But Lena is far from a natural, and the preview of the film leaves audiences laughing, and not in a good way. In order to save the film, Don, Kathy, and Cosmo plan to turn the film into a musical and use Kathy's voice instead of Lena's. Lena discovers their plans and works to undermine Kathy's role in the film, which is a huge success. Under pressure to prove her singing prowess live, Lena once again is dubbed by Kathy, only for Don and Cosmo to reveal the charade. Both women try to flee, but Don stops Kathy, proclaiming her the true talent of the film. Sometime later, the two lovebirds celebrate their own film premiere, Singing in the Rain. Here's some deeper thoughts on the matter.
Good morning.
Good morning. We can't really do the trick where I talk and you move your lips as if I'm recording your parts for you, because this is a podcast.
This is an audio platform only.
There's no visual component, so that gag is missed.
Indeed. Oh, this is such a good movie. On a rewatch, it was everything I remembered and more.
I mean, it was a good film. I enjoyed it. Yeah. I thought everybody needs a Cosmo in their life, and everybody needs to try and be the Cosmo in someone else's life.
Yeah.
I think that's advice to live by.
I think so too. He's big best friend wingman.
Yeah.
Energy for sure.
If you don't have yourself a Cosmo,
find yourself one.
Look harder, because you might.
You might.
Find your Cosmo and tell them that you appreciate them.
Right, exactly. Oh, this movie, I noted about halfway through, maybe a bit around the Singing in the Rain bit, when he's singing in the rain.
Oh, the bit where there's rain and he's singing and dancing in it.
I was thinking that I think I spent about 96% of this movie smiling, like actively smiling.
It is a smiling kind of film. Unlike some of the more recent films we have watched, where there is like existential dread and upset and stress and tension. Yeah. Like the overall story, whilst there is a little bit of subterfuge, the overall story is like a pretty positive one.
Pretty happy, yeah.
This might be an unpopular opinion.
Oh?
But you know how sometimes there's people on screen like Tom Hanks or Terry Crews, and you're like, I bet they'd just be really good people in real life. Mm-hmm. I don't think Gene Kelly is one of those people. Just looking at him.
That's fair. I mean, look, it's the 50s when this was made.
Yeah.
So I think that more likely than not, a lot of people would have held some pretty, perhaps traditionalist, misogynistic.
Well, not even that. I just don't think he looks like he looks like the kind of guy you wouldn't want to spend too much time around if you valued your own time.
Interesting. I mean, sure. I don't get really a feeling either way. I mean, he has such a classic Hollywood face.
Yeah.
Everything about this film has such strong nostalgia and whimsy and the dream of what making it in Hollywood would feel like in the era of the 20s, right?
I did really like that sequence where Don Lockwood is explaining how he made it to fame through good schooling and rubbing shoulders with all the right rich people, in direct juxtaposition of scenes of him and Cosmo just absolutely slumming it.
Yeah.
That was great. There was a lot that was really well done in this film, and it was very funny.
Yes.
There was a lot of dancing.
There was a lot of dancing.
Like counterpoint. It was pretty good dancing. But boy, there was a lot of it.
Dancing in the rain.
There was a lot more dancing than singing in the rain, as the lyric might imply. There was some dancing. There was actually a lot of dancing,
which I enjoyed.
It was good. It dragged a bit.
You think? Not for me.
Yeah.
See, but that's the thing. This is my kind of movie.
That's fair.
I love musicals.
This is a dancicle.
Okay, musicals often have a lot of dancing in them.
Right, yeah.
They're performances. Yeah. They're multi-layered, multifaceted.
Do you remember that 20 to 30 minutes into the film where there was no dialogue?
Yes.
It was a dancicle.
It was visually very fascinating. It
was good. I definitely got... I thought this movie was only an hour 40. Do you know what I mean? At least one point during a few of those longer dance scenes, which...
Look, I can understand that, but for me personally, and that really is the difference of when it's a movie that caters to my particular tastes, it doesn't matter if there was, you might say, objectively long dance sequences. It worked for me. People who can dance so effortlessly, it is so impressive.
Yeah, it's very upsetting to watch those three throw their bodies around in front of the camera like they weigh nothing.
I know.
I said at one point during the film that Cosmo looks like he's allergic to the ground.
Yeah.
Like he's tap dancing and his
gravity does not apply.
It does not apply. He's like a cat. It's very funny.
I forgot a few of the numbers that are included in this.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got the titular Singing in the Rain. Then you've got the Good Morning. Good morning.
I didn't know that was from this.
Which is from this.
But I knew the song.
And of course, Make 'Em Laugh. Did you know that prior?
No.
Okay. I knew of that, but I'm not sure if I knew that from this. I think I knew that just from Life as well. It's a pretty well-known in the musical sphere, I feel like, maybe.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I did musical theatre in high school, but I only did 2 or 3 musicals, and I didn't do it outside of school. I did it as part of school.
Did you do older musicals like this, though?
No.
No, exactly.
No. But so I guess what I'm saying is, I wasn't a true theatre kid.
Sure.
Where, the real theatre kids would go to the other theatre kids' houses and watch movies like this.
Correct.
Whereas I did the musicals at school, and then I was in a band.
God, I was built to be a theatre kid. In a different life, where I went to a school that had proper musical theatre, I may have gone down that pathway.
Yeah, you absolutely would have ended up in a theatre kid.
Right.
Hole.
I watched movies like this at home with my parents, but that was kind of it. It didn't go beyond that.
Yeah. Well, this is what theatre kids do now. They make podcasts.
They lament their stolen...
Theatre kid youth. You can still join up to a theatre program. There's local theatre programs looking for talent like you, babe.
Sounds like so much work. Have you seen them?
It is a lot of work. We just watched a film about a lot of work.
It was, yeah. Oh, it's so romantic as well. I think that's something else I really like about the storyline of this film. It's got the high energy Hollywood stuff, which is really fun and interesting because it's really about a real life time of the 20s when they switched from silent film to the talkies.
Yeah. Which, by the way, as a plot, a story to tell, it's a really good story.
It is very cool.
Because, obviously that happened. I don't think I've ever seen a movie about it.
Right, exactly. That's what I was saying in the preamble of you know how some films age badly?
Yeah.
I don't think this film can age badly because it's sort of set. There was only I think one moment where I cringed. And it was in the car at the very beginning when he's like, if I'm just a shadow, what can I do to you? Kind of, there's a little salty
cool
vibes.
It there, Lockwood. Cool it.
Right. But that was it.
Yeah.
Pretty much the rest of it, none of it was kind of weird, you know? In that way of, cringy, this is untoward because it's from the 50s.
Not to mention, there is through the lens of it was done in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
That character arc that Lockwood has, where he obviously has grassroots in just dancing and then stunt work and then making it in Hollywood, and then he becomes a big movie star, and it goes to his head a bit, and we sort of see him at his worst in the car.
Right, exactly, because he just was mobbed by all those fans and he's really battling or trying to find his own worth within this fame.
Right.
And she brings him down a peg.
Yeah. And so he's defensive about it and kind of fair enough, but also not the good attitude, Lockwood. Get a hold of yourself. That's the worst we see him at. And he's not a bad dude otherwise. That's a pretty low moment. And he apologizes for it later on.
Right.
And then at the end of the film, and you pointed this out and I went, oh yeah, of course. They renamed the film to The Dancing Cavalier, and they have that scene. And really, what they've done is they've put his feelings about
Kathy.
I was like, her name isn't Catherine. Her name is Catherine. His feelings about Kathy into this movie about like, oh, this wonderful woman and blah, blah, blah. And obviously, it's not quite exactly the same. But if you hadn't pointed that out, I probably wouldn't have thought about it.
Yeah.
But it is actually a really well told story on multiple layers because we effectively watched two movies.
Sort of, yeah. In a roundabout way.
I mean, yeah. Like,
they don't really show the final product.
I mean, they don't need to because we've seen all of it cut together.
And they explain their plan.
Yeah.
How good of a villain is Lena?
No.
She's comical, like, and she's meant to be, and it's her voice.
What do you think I am? Dumb or something?
Yeah. She's a great caricature of
villainous
diva
yeah.
Hollywood actress.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, the friendship between Cosmo and Don is great. Ride or die. Because even at the beginning, like he like brings him into the conversation, and it's just great. And it is just so romantic, like the way that pretty much from the moment he meets Kathy, it's not like he strays, which is, I feel like, quite a common thing in these Hollywood things where it's, they're a playboy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's got his eye on Kathy, but then some new
he's sleeping with every intern on set kind of vibe, you know. But no, and I just think it's very romantic.
And he's also willing to put it all on the line at the end for her as well. Like, doesn't matter. Here it is. It's all
and he's championing her talent.
Yeah.
Like, he wants her career to be, something
valued.
I don't know if you can tell I really like this film. I honestly think I knew I enjoyed it, but upon this rewatch, I think I'd put it in like my top 3 to 5 films. Top 3
to 5 films must watch of all times. You heard it here first, folks. The Better Late Than Never Club. It is never too late to see Singin' in the Rain.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously I know that I'm biased because of my preference for musical theatre type content.
Yeah.
And I also am a sucker for a romantic plotline, and this has both of those things. So take that with a grain of salt, but I do think it's for an uplifting film.
Yes.
If you need that in your life right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Would recommend.
That is true. There's not a single moment where you go like, does the dog die? Do you know what I mean? You don't have to worry about that. That's sort of thing you have to worry about in this film.
Yeah.
So that is a win. During I think it was the opening credits, you said something you didn't say on mic as we're waiting for the film to sort of get going and start. You said that the inspiration for this film came from a bunch of sort of unreleased, half-recorded material from some artists.
Yeah, let me get their names so I'm not doing them a disservice.
Yeah, well, that effectively made this film a concept album. But the only other concept album film I've ever seen has a very different vibe to this. Is it really like a concept album film? Because you sort of said that off the cuff.
So a man called Arthur Freed, who was the producer for this film, he conceived the idea based on the back catalogue of songs written by himself and another guy called Natio. His name was Ignacio, but he was referred to as Natio, Herb Brown. So the two of them had written a bunch of songs, back catalogue. So because a lot of the songs in this back catalogue were written during the transition from silent film to talkies.
Interesting.
Again, this is all taken direct from Wikipedia. The writers of the film, Betty Comden and Adolph Green, decided that that's when the story should be set.
Yeah.
So they took this back catalogue, they strung together a storyline to put these songs to, and that's it.
It sounds so flimsy. Like, I've got these songs, see, and I want to make money off them, see? So I need you to make a story and put this music together in some kind of order, and then we make it about something, and then we make money, see?
And
I assume that's what all directors talk like.
Yeah, of course. And then Gene Kelly was chosen for it.
Probably because he was big. He was the Don Lockwood at the time.
Right. And him and his creative partner, Donan, the other directors, they were both very enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
After finding out. So off they went. So, I mean, concept album, it doesn't refer to as that, but I guess it's because it's not really an album.
It's a creative interpretation of the music through film.
Right. I mean, the music was there first, but they wrote a story around it.
Well, that's...
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
it's kind of like... It is a really interesting thing because there are a handful of films out there. And this has made me want to watch Interstellar 5555.
Right. So that has come... Right. So that has made its way to the front of our lists now because I've been meaning to watch that for a long time because that's the Daft Punk movie album.
We both love Daft Punk.
Right. Very, very different to this.
No,
Perhaps, in many ways, the opposite in a lot of sort of elements. It's animated, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's...
For starters.
It's
very different music.
Its similarities end at... It is a visual reimagining of the audio content.
Right. But I think it's much more of like a direct... It sounds like it's much more of a direct, here's some audio, right? Here's some music.
It's not even that the album is played start to finish and the movie plays over the top of it. It's not that at all. It's somebody took the music from the album and then made a story of it. I
think the difference is that was an album, then they made the movie. This was like disparate songs, not an album.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference I can. Well,
I don't know
if
it's just one, I don't know enough about 5555 to know if it's just one album or not.
Yeah,
but I don't want you to look it up either.
I guess we'll find out.
We won't fact check that. Oh God. I will. Like Debbie Reynolds was really good.
Yes, I mean she's talented. Something I do need to check.
You were telling me an anecdote about how Fred Astaire was there and found her under a piano because she couldn't dance because Gene Kelly
was a bit mean to her about her dancing.
A bit mean.
Can you imagine being like, and then I got better at dancing because Fred Astaire helped me. That's what always blows my mind about old Hollywood. It's just like you could just know something, like people just kind of knew each other.
That's current Hollywood as well.
I know, it's just wild.
It's like I was terrible at meaningful looks and then Timothée Chalamet may be helpful. I don't know.
Do you want to know something really ironic?
Isn't it ironic? No, I don't know. I don't know where you're going with this. What's ironic?
2 of the songs in this film were sung by someone else. She was dubbed by someone else.
That's actually really funny.
Yeah. One of them being when she is shown dubbing Lena Lamont.
At the end on stage?
Yep.
That's really funny. That's actually so... That is meta. That's got to be deliberate, right? Like, let's just, for a gag, let's make it not you singing in the rain.
Another fun fact is that in the scene where Kathy is dubbing Lena's spoken line in the film, the actress that plays Lena, it was actually her real speaking voice. Because that was preferenced over Debbie Reynolds, who had apparently a Midwestern accent that wasn't right for it. And Hagen, who's the last name of the actual actress that played Lena, she had a much more cultural voice that fitted the scene better. There's just a lot of layering going on here that's very funny.
That's I kind of suspected at some point, not at some point. It was immediately evident that the actress playing Lena was putting on a voice.
Of course.
But so much so that I had no idea what her normal voice would sound like.
Right.
And when they started doing the dubbed voice parts, I was like, I wonder if that is actually her voice. And we just would have no idea because she's done such a stellar job of being Betty Boop on screen.
Yeah, no, she did a fabulous job of having a shrill, piercing tone throughout the whole film.
What am I? Down with something?
Yeah, she was fabulous.
What was that line I said, I'm going to take that to work and use that?
He said,
I ain't got fame.
I ain't got money. What have I got?
I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. All right.
He's great. I love him. Donald O'Connor. He does a great job.
Yeah. Now, see, unlike
Gene Kelly,
that gentleman right there, I reckon he'd be a great person to have a beer with. He's probably a nice person, really good, really friendly. I don't want you to look up anything to the contrary.
I will leave you in blissful ignorance then.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to talk about this favourite little film of yours before you rate it?
I don't know. I mean, it's just...
It's heartwarming.
It is. And I do agree, and I see what you're saying about some of the sequences, especially when it's like about the film within a film, go on a little bit too long. But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else to say other than musically great, visually great. Actually holds up really well, I think, visually for being such an old film.
I will say this, and I wonder if it's because in the 80s they were experimenting with a lot more sound technology and this was just simpler time. But the audio, the dialogue was really clear. Yeah. We weren't struggling to hear any of it. You know,
sometimes I really struggle to hear things in movies.
Like we don't have the best audio setup. We've just got like a little sound bar. Don't at me.
Like compare this to Terminator. Or what was the last film we watched?
Well, but that's what I'm saying. I think quite a few of the films that we're watching in and around that space, they're like, everyone's into huge surround sound systems. But if you don't have that, you're not getting the separation between voice and background.
Right.
Whereas this, it's like we have one microphone to share around the entire studio.
It's hidden in a bush. Speak into it.
It's hidden in a bush.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was really impressed with how this film held up. It's just in all regards, pretty much.
I'm glad for you that it wasn't rose-tinted glasses.
Yeah, no, that's always a good sign. I think I'm ready to rate it.
All right, then. Lay it on us. What do you got? I'm
going to give this movie 9.5 women hidden in cakes. We looked in every cake in town.
I'm going to give it 8.1 everyone needs a Cosmo out of 10. Because it was good. It's good. And everyone needs a Cosmo back. Definitely my favourite part of the film.
Both a drink and a person.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I don't know if I like Cosmos.
They sound nice, though.
They do. Just the name. Just the name.
Cosmopolitan. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our oldest film so far. Can we go older? We probably can. I think it'll get harder and harder to find good copies, though. Yeah. I think this film is a bit of an enigma in that because it has been...
so well preserved and so well loved.
Exactly. So there probably is just better copies of it, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let us know if you have any recommendations for movie musicals, movies from the 50s.
Or older.
Or something completely different. If you're like, shut up about movie musicals and move back onto horrifying action thriller, tense times.
We prefer it when after the break you come back panting and crying. That's what the listener wants. That's what you'll get. You don't want to hear us happy and gleeful
smiling
about how two friends made it in Hollywood and
found love along the way. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, Spotify,
wherever you get your podcasts.
Talk at you next time.
Till next time.
This episode of the Better Late Than Never Club is brought to you by our patrons: Alex, Christopher, Lindy, Matthew, Nathan, and Rachel.
And also our members: Aimless, Andrew, Raina, Salty Pond, and Simon.
Thank you for listening.